area that you don't have cell phone coverage. They get so many complaints, they make these cellular to comply for emergency reasons.
Commissioner Wolf?
When I look at it, the way it's written right now, I think it sounds very well. I really do like the thought that we're going to review all the zoning on there, and that would be the proper time to actually spend the time on it. But the same token, somebody will always complain because there's very few places in the township that there doesn't have a house within that area, and so. To try to pick the spots and say there's no house within X amount of feet doesn't make much sense anyway. So I like the way the language is written, but if it wants to be amended, I think the review is the proper time to do this.
Commissioner Albers, again, you brought this up. Do you have any more discussion?
No.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other comments on wireless ordinance discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the second added item under business item 7D, LI and GI uses discussion.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how much discussion now to have that Trustee Gifford shared that the board or appointed group might be reviewing all the ordinances and we don't have any say in that moving forward. But
That's not what I said. I said either they're gonna get a commission together or have the planning commission work out it. That's what needs to be determined. It ain't the board deciding nothing. And residents at any time can put email, a letter, submit their suggestions to the township.
And with any ordinance amendments, the ordinance clearly states that only the township board can adopt ordinances, and that's only after the planning commission has reviewed and made recommendations. So regardless of separate bodies may just to compile all the ordinance amendments, it will still need to go to planning commission.
Yeah,
Okay.
whether it's a board, a separate commission doing a suggestion to the planning commission.
Okay.
Either way, it's still gotta go for the planning commission.
okay, thank you for that clarification. So my point of bringing this up is, again, if that's something that's already on the horizon, then this probably is a moot point, but I just thought that given the nature of our township and the fact that, and it was brought up in the May special meeting, that, look, we've got a list as long as, my arm of permitted uses, and it could be if, nothing happened in that current GI spot, that something more nefarious could go in there because there is such a long list of permitted uses. And what I imagine residents would like to see is if not removing everything, but just picking GI and LI industries that are more complementary to our township, of which the current proposed solution in that area is one of them. I would rather see that than, an auto manufacturing plant or a paint plant. But it was just a thought that I had because I believe that it does occur in other townships, that we could be a little bit more protective of Augusta by, if it's legal to do, to look through the permitted uses and remove things that don't make sense for Augusta Township. That's it.
So I guess that begs the question, Mr. Mazzati, and again, it may be a question we can't answer tonight. It may require consultation with the township attorney, but if you have a use, GI, LI use, I believe, if I understand Commissioner Albers, what she's asking about is, can you remove certain uses from that, or does that,
Yes.
and of course you have LI and you have GI, so light industrial is lighter than GI, general industrial, so you, in theory, in LI you've removed certain uses that are allowed in GI. I don't want to put anything out on the table, but I guess some stuff that made more noise or whatever. Is that something somebody could challenge, say, hey, you've got a general industrial district, but you're not, you're only allowing two things, I'm exaggerating here, or whatever. I don't know, you know, is there anything that, you know, we start, if we or, you know, in the future, there's some review of ordinances and another body looks at it, you know, is there certain legal in the Michigan Planning Act or something like that that says, hey, if you establish a district, you know, it has to be minimally open to, you know, a reasonable, you know, number or types of uses or something, you know, some legalese or whatever, I, you know, don't know.
Yeah, again, yes, I will have to consult with the attorney on the
Okay.
specifics, but I do know in terms of removing uses from table of uses, we might get into the sketchy area of exclusionary zoning for certain uses.
That's the
But-
phrase I was, yeah, I knew there was something, so.
Yes. If the township is looking to, I guess, reduce the impact of, you know, heavier scale industrial uses on the township, we can always through, when the township master plan comes up for revisions and adoption, the planning commission is by that will prepare that plan for the township board to adopt. But what we can always look at during those updates is whether or not we want to, with our future land use map, plan for less area as industrial. Because as of right now, looking at the future land use map, from our current master plan, I'm not seeing much on industrial at all. And I would have to double check the text of that, but as I'm looking at this map, I don't see an industrial category, so we may have already been proactive in that in planning for no industrial with the future land use map. So, as of right now, you know, the zoning still carries, and I would, again, need to consult with the attorney on whether or not the township wants to initiate some rezonings, but then again, that is out of my wheelhouse right now. I would have to definitely do that.
Sure. Well, maybe, the phrase I like to use, you know, at the pace of business, I don't think it's anything, it's a burning question that needs to be answered, but at the pace of business, we can try to clarify that. I think it'd be helpful for us, educational, and then, you know, we all know better, you know, where we stand and make us all a little bit smarter on this.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Albers?
That's it. Thank you.
All right, move on to item number 8, public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak?
We lost our audience.
Anyone? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 9, communications.
Basically, all I had tonight was where the board's talking about plan commission or creating a commission to review all the ordinance. But they're always open for any suggestions. Because there's a lot of, like with chickens and that, we get a lot of calls, so we'll probably want to change that sooner than later. Where you can allow whatever amount of chickens on, because right now it's 2 acres or more. Anything less, you ain't supposed to have any chickens.
Any farm, any farm,
Yeah.
I do have one part of communication for the commission as of right now. Recently, the township did enter into a consent judgment agreement with Mitchell Storage over on Rossingville Road. What you can expect is a memo from us explaining the details of that consent judgment, and possibly next meeting you will receive that letter. And essentially what the consent judgment has done is set some different parameters as to how the use will continue. So part of that includes a review of the exterior lighting facilities that the use currently has on. So next month you can expect that memo to be included in your packet, just as a heads up. So you will be seeing some site plans from that project come before you in the future.
Can I ask for clarification? There was a consent judgment that was entered into in the fairly recent past. There was then a revision made to the location of the retention swale, I will use the
Yep.
phrase, and the trees and the orientation relative to the property line. Are you saying there's been yet another consent judgment, or are you referring to the
Yes.
original?
It's the same consent judgment, but as of
Okay.
right now, we're starting to get into the phases of where the planning commission has to review some aspects of that site plan.
Yeah, specifically, I know it listed
Mhm.
landscaping and site lighting.
Yep, and
I
that'll be
brought
included in
that
the memo
to
of
the
all the
board's
different-
attention some time ago.
Mhm.
But I understand, I haven't been out that way in a while, but I understand construction is well underway.
Yes.
Well, that was, the construction's happening is for the county with the drainage, and he's getting ready now start what required to go through site plan review.
Well, I would, I guess I would debate the semantics of that, trustee, and that construction is construction, and issuing of permits should be contingent on site plan approval. That would be my position, and so the fact that that started without site plan approval, without those approvals that were listed in consent judgment, I've taken exception to, based on my experience and everything that I've ever seen in practice. That's neither here nor there. We are where we are, and glad that it is coming back to give us that opportunity to review it as it was outlined in the consent judgment.
Well, from our own understanding, when we took office, between the old township lawyer and the county in the meeting, that he had, before he can start his phase, he had complied to their drainage and entrance, not in a retention pond.
There were some
And that's
preliminary actions that he needed to do before he could come to us for site plan review that was answered in that. And my memo will cover those prerequisites and then also what conditions that he has to satisfy with the planning commission.
And the county told us that we're not involved in that part. That was all on drainage and road.
Yeah, I don't dispute that the County Water Resources Commission has jurisdiction on that. That's not what I'm disputing, or I'm not trying to dispute.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the township has should have the final authority under the consent, in this case, under the consent judgment.
Yeah.
But that's something that had been worked on for several years to get it to where it was. And in all honesty, I'm not sure why there was a revision to the landscaping and the drainage swale along the north property line after probably 2 years worth of work on that. But again, that's neither here nor there. The township board saw fit to do that, and we are where we are. So, all right, well, thank you for that update, Mr. Bizzatti. Do you anticipate that would be this next month or sometime in the near future?
I'm still coordinating with the township attorney on the contents of that memo, but hopefully by the October meeting, we'll have a portion of that site plan review to you, essentially. So I believe the first item, one of the prerequisites before you can enter into site plan review was that the planning commission had to approve his exterior lighting locations. So he'll need to provide a lighting plan for the commission to review and approve before we can move on to the actual site plan review.
All right, thank you. Are there any other comments, communications from commission members? All right, hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Witt to adjourn at 7:51. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Commissioner Hamel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Meeting adjourned at 7:51.